Good afternoon, everybody. This is Rob Hibbets. Welcome everyone to Orangeburg Touchdown Club. We have a great coach with us today, Todd Fitch from Vanderbilt. We're looking forward to that. It was a great football weekend last weekend, and this one is shaping up the same way. So I'd now like to turn the program over to Halls of Fame coach Willie Jeffries. Coach?
Thank you, Rob. To everyone, welcome to the Orangeburg Touchdown Club. And we thank all of you for tuning in. We are really getting some good numbers, so we really appreciate all of you tuning in. We have an outstanding football coach today, Todd Fitch, who if Vanderbilt, if he calls the wrong play, he's the guy. He's the OC at Vanderbilt. So let the fans know. Because you know, Todd, that you got better coaches in the stands than you have on the field. So we all understand that. And we're going to start off, Todd, we usually do this. And I'm happy, Todd, that you're at Vanderbilt. The last guy we lost to Vanderbilt was Corey Chavers. Chavers, we thought we had him because of Barney Chavers. And Corey could read, write, draw, and trace. He was one of those high up type of students that you all kind of look for. But anyway, you all had a major that he wanted, so we lost him to Vanderbilt. I guess you've heard of him back before your time. Okay, now we have the guy who really is an important, he's really important to this touchdown club. Chris Clark. He has a byline, a date line, and a headline, and they all have to be on time every time. So let's welcome the sports editor for the Times and Democrat newspaper, Mr. Chris Clark.
Thanks a lot, Coach. Well, as Rob mentioned, it was a big weekend of football, and we had many exciting games in the TND region this past week. Some really close games. We had some shutouts. We had a little bit of everything. Undefeated Bamberg Earhart wrapped up the Region 6A title with a 24-0 shutout win against Allendale Fairfax. Orangeburg Wilkinson stayed in the Region 5-3A race with a 30-0 win at Fox Creek. Orangeburg Prep scored late to grab a 1-point win, 14-13, at home against Beaufort Academy to remain near the top in Skeezer Region 1-2A play. And Calhoun County got its first win of the season by scoring twice in the fourth quarter of a 16-12 home Region 3A game against Denmark Olar. Also, our Skeeza 8-man undefeated teams, Andrew Jackson Academy and Holly Hill Academy, each scored in the 60s, and they were both at home. They stayed on track for their regular season finale, which will be at Holly Hill next week. So they stay undefeated through this week. You got two unbeatens playing each other. So some of our highlighted TND region games tomorrow night include region matchups with Orangeburg Wilkinson hosting Brooklyn Casey, Edisto at Pelion, Northwood Academy at Orangeburg Prep, the combined North Hunter Counter Tyler team at Denmark Olar, Bethune-Bowman at Branchville, Calhoun County at Blackville Hilda, and Lake Marion at Burke. So we've got a lot of good matchups to look forward to tomorrow night. Now let's recognize our players of the week. Our offensive player of the week. We've had a few freshmen in the past, and a lot of those earn awards each year as they continue their play. This is our first freshman for this year. Freshman tailback Amir Smith had 7 carries for 119 yards and 2 touchdowns for the Calhoun County Saints in Friday's 16-12 Region 3A home win against Denmark Olar. He was mostly playing defense until an injury forced change up in positions, and once on offense, he ran in the 2 scores needed for the Saints to take the lead and pick up their first win of the season. Also, it's worth noting for Coach Jeffries, at least, that Amir's father won a couple championships playing for Union County a few years back. Great. So our ATI Physical Therapy Offensive Player of the Week for head coach Wayne Farmer and Calhoun County is freshman tailback Amir Smith. And I think Coach Farmer and Amir are both on here. If they'd like to say anything at this time, give them a chance to.
Thank you all for recognizing me for this award, and I really appreciate it.
I know your mom said yesterday she's really proud of what you did, and she was surprised when you went in on offense. Was that a surprise to you, or you were just ready to play wherever they needed you?
I'm just an all-around player. Wherever they need me to go, I just do what they tell me to do.
Amir, are you, you didn't grow up in Union, did you? Or your father did?
No, sir.
Did your dad grow up in Union?
Yes, sir.
Okay, well, I'm from Union too. We got, tell your dad I saw his mule. Tell your dad I saw his mule the other day I was in Union. Just tell him so make him laugh.
Coach Farmer, you want to say anything?
But we just thank you for the honor for Amir. Amir's a freshman and he plays both sides of the ball, and he's a very good, and he's also a strong academic student. His uncle played for me at Ellery Montez, and so and his father is an outstanding player that played at Union and went and played at Wayne. But Amir's going to be a really good student athlete. He's going to be a really good ball player for years to come. Like I say, he's only a true freshman, 14 years old. Starts at safety and at Wayne back for us. So, pretty young man. We got a long way to go, but he's been doing an outstanding job.
Coach Farmer, can he spell Bob backwards?
I think so. I don't know about the capital B or not, but I think.
Okay. Well, congratulations to you, and I'm sure that Amir has more years to come. And tell them don't move, Coach Farmer. Don't let them move now. So you
not to, sir. You're right. We're young. We're a very young team. Very young. We'll be fine though.
Okay, Chris.
Well, congratulations. Thanks a lot, Coach. Congratulations, Amir. Thanks a lot, Coach Farmer. Now for our Defensive Player of the Week. Senior nose guard Nolan Boney led the Orangeburg Prep Indians with 11.5 tackles, including 7 solo stops and a quarterback sack in Friday's 14-13 home Skeezer Region 1-2A win against Buford Academy. The win kept the 6-1 Indians near the top of the region standings. Our ATI Physical Therapy Defensive Player of the Week for head coach Andy Palmer and Orangeburg Prep is senior nose guard Nolan Boney. I know Coach Palmer had another appointment he had to attend to, and he said he wouldn't be on here, but I see Nolan's on. Nolan, you have any comments you'd like to make?
Yes, sir. Just appreciate. Thank you for giving me this award, and I know it's a big deal, so I'm very appreciative. And we had a fun game Friday. It was a big win, so excited for the next.
Chris, let me tell you, Nolan, he's been on since 8:00 this morning. He and I were looking at each other. But congratulations to you. Congratulations to you. You beat those centers. Do they ever let you slant? You two gap, or you just whip the center and look for the football?
Most time I'm just bull rushing, but lately we've been slanting, so I've been having a little more fun with that.
Oh, that's great. That's great. You look real good physically too. How much do you weigh?
Well, at the start of the season, I was around 210, and now I'm actually 190. I can't keep the weight.
You look to be a biscuit over 200.
Yes, sir.
But anyway, you look great.
Thank you. If I can keep the weight or put more on.
Okay. Go ahead, Chris.
Well, thanks a lot, Coach. Yeah, congratulations, Nolan. And Coach Jeffries, I'll turn it back over to you, but I'll let you know the last few weeks I've had some of the coaches asking me if you found that $1,000 to give out instead of the T-shirts. They appreciate the T-shirts, but if you find that $1,000, just let them know.
Okay,
I'll turn it back over.
I have to go by and see my banker to get that $1,000 because my wife and I, we owed the bank some money, but we don't owe the bank anymore because they sent us a letter the other day said final notice. So I guess they forgot about it. We don't know the cops coming next. But Chris, thank you. You do a great job, and thanks to you, Chris, and the TND for all you all do to help us with the Orangeburg Touchdown Club. Now, next we have our own coach, Coach Oliver Buddy Pugh. Coach will talk about the Bulldogs, and he will also introduce our illustrious speaker for today. Coach Pugh, take it away.
Thank you. Coach. Congratulations, guys. Both you, Amir and Nolan. Looks like you guys played really well this past week. And congratulations to all of the teams that are doing so well in our area, both the winners and the losers. I mean, the fact that you're playing is a good thing. We get a little bit jealous in the fact that you guys are being able to play, and we kind of sit on the sideline, not really being able to get out and do much. We have started our spring practice a little bit. We start to practice a little bit, and some of my freshmen look like they might be pretty good. So we'll see here in a little bit. But at the same time, congratulations to you guys, and we look forward to seeing you. Amir, you just a freshman, boy. Let me tell you what, it'll be a long time seeing you around here. I hope I can last long at South Carolina State as you will at Calhoun County. So congratulations, guys, and y'all continue to do good. I'm gonna move on. Our speaker today is Coach Todd Fitch. Coach Fitch and I have been knowing each other for about 25 years, I imagine, somewhere in there. And one of the things that he's famous for is he was moved to the running backs job at South Carolina when I left to come here so many odd years ago. But now he's been back and forth several times with Skip Holt and all those guys, he and Urban Meyer, all those guys. I think they kind of cut their coaching teeth together, back years and years ago at Colorado and some of the other places. Todd's been offensive coordinator and all kinds of at all kinds of places. He was at Louisiana Tech last. They had a really good team this past year. I think they were like 10-3 this past year, and he led the country in a whole bunch of offensive categories. And before that, he was at at Boston College. I started to say BC, Brooklyn Case, Boston College. He was at South Florida. You know what? If Todd could have talked Skip in the stand at East Carolina, they might still be at East Carolina because they were kicking Fanny at really a good looking football team. And they were good at South Florida too. I don't know exactly what happened there, but he and Skip were together at several stops, and they just seemed to be a lethal combination. He's done a great job on the offensive side of the ball for Skip at all those different places. And now he's at Vanda. He and his wife, Julie, they had two little toddlers when they were in Orangeburg. when they were in Columbia years ago. Yeah. Guys, he said Curtis is at Louisville now as a GA. One of my guys here. My defensive coordinator was a GA at Louisville 4 or 5 years back. Sure. And then Peyton is his daughter. They got 2 kids. He and Julie is teaching school down around Atlanta. So Todd's just a tremendous guy. I always enjoyed working with him and being a friend to him. And, I'm looking forward to hearing it. And he's a great talker. So I'm going to put a little pressure on you, Todd. Ladies and gentlemen, I bring to you Orangeburg Touchdown Club, Coach Todd Fitch.
I appreciate it, buddy. I don't know if they're going to open my screen up here or not, but I guess you guys can hear me. I want to make sure you guys can hear me. But first, before I start, I want to do the same thing Buddy just did. Congratulations to those high school guys that won that award, those 2 awards today. You listen and you're talking high school football. One of the things, this is a crazy time in the world for all of us, obviously. We can't get out recruiting. Recruits can't come on our campus. So one of the things I like to do the most is on a Friday night, go see a local high school game, watch a high school guy play, and listen to those guys statistically and the awards they won. It kind of hits you again in the face that the things you're missing out at this time, that, it's just great to see young guys out playing the game. And one thing I spent 5 years in South Carolina, as Buddy mentioned, and another 3 to 4 in North Carolina, in the Carolinas for about 10, 11 years. And, great high school football. And I remember the time in South Carolina, our camps, all the high school coaches that worked our camp, just, really, really appreciate what those high school coaches did in that state from all levels, from the, small schools, the SCISA to the, to the top, 16 schools there, was really well done, really well coached, and obviously a ton of talent out of there. So, kind of listening to some of those schools you're rattling off, it kind of brought back good memories to me there for sure. But, just really appreciate Buddy calling me. He called me about 3 weeks ago, and it's like, hey, you want to speak in your off week? And I was like, yeah, it sounds great. Then the off week gets here and it's like, oh my God, I got to think about what I want to talk about. But I really appreciate Buddy asking me. It's, this is a crazy business. You go, through it all, and you've been doing this a long time. And like anything you do, it's about people. And, you guys are fortunate there at South Carolina State. You know this already, but you got maybe one of the most quality individuals that I've ever worked with in Buddy Pugh at your charge, been there a long time. Just a great coach, great with players, and just a tremendous person. So when he called, I was excited about doing this. And then, looking at the staff, I think I either worked with, coached, or recruited about 4 of those guys, and so it's always a place that I watched and follow the scores there. Wherever I'm coaching at, because, you have a connection with people and you always want to see great people do great things. And the last time we saw each other face to face, he was in our office at Louisiana Tech trying to get on the bus and go home because we had about a 4-hour lightning delay. When we tied him down, we wouldn't let him leave because we needed to play that game. So, I think we kicked off about 11 p.m. that night. That was one of the wild times right there. I think there was about maybe 75 people in the stands when we kicked that sucker off. But I appreciate the opportunity to come and visit with y'all, even though it's through the Zoom. But I think the other secret to what's going on there in any place you work is you hire good people. I've watched, like I said, Buddy's program from afar for a long time now, since he's been at South Carolina State, and I've known a lot of guys he's hired, and he's hired great people and B, great coaches, and from all backgrounds, all different walks of life. How they got there, all different stories. And I've always watched that because Buddy always had a really good point of view when I worked with him for those 4 years at South Carolina, is that he could identify talent, he could identify good people. And I think that's really been one of the secrets to his success there. And as you move around in this profession, the great jobs I've had, the great teams I've been around, we've been surrounded by obviously good players. It takes great players, obviously, but it's about good people. And I think that's really the secret to what's going on, And as you get into this deal, take this job about 8 months ago now. Got here in January, and coming off the season, Buddy mentioned we had a really good year last year, won 10 ball games, and I knew this was going to be a great challenge. Coaching in the SEC previously for 5 years at South Carolina, played Vandy every year, knew all about it. And then, you get here and, you're kind of rebuilding offense, kind of changing gears a little bit offensively, what they were doing and what we're trying to do. And then you add on, what's going on with COVID and obviously some of the social justice things going on out there in the world. It's been a wild ride, and the thing that's been fun about it, I guess, if you can call it fun, is it challenges you every day. I've learned how to get on Zoom and teach on the computer, things like that. You laugh at yourself about, but every day you come to work, you better be ready to adapt and adjust, because it's never the same. We haven't had the same roster at practice 2 days in a row, probably for the last 4 weeks. I was telling Coach Jeffries and Coach Pugh earlier, this is the first time in my career, I've coached over 20 years, that I've had back-to-back weeks off in the course of the season. 2 weeks ago, we couldn't play because of a COVID postponement. And this week was our off week. So we've actually been almost like in a spring ball mode in the thick of the season, just trying to keep sharp, get some young guys work, and obviously in a depleted roster. We played 2 weeks ago was our last time we played. We actually played South Carolina. We had 55 players available on the roster, and that's counting backup kickers and backup quarterbacks. This COVID situation is keeping everybody on their toes, and so it's been a great challenge to us every day to learn, like I said, to adapt and to do the best we can to get our players in the best position to go out and play great on Saturday. So it's been a heck of a learning curve for us, the players. And I will say this for our players, and I'm sure you talk to a lot of different coaches around the country, got a lot of respect for the players. The story that's not being told in this whole thing, everybody's excited to have football back, which we all are. All right, everybody enjoys competing and playing. But the untold story on this whole deal, and I know, Buddy, you just talked about, you guys are kind of going to spring ball mode, is the sacrifices that the players are making right now to get out there on Saturday afternoon. Their life's not the same. You're 18 to 22-year-old college student. You're not going to class, all right? Especially in a place like Vanderbilt, going to class is, something these guys like to do. They're into their academics here seriously, obviously. So they're learning a whole different way. Everybody's on Zoom. And then 2, all right, socially, this is, that's what you do. You hang out with your friends, you play PlayStation in a room. These guys, we don't even allow them to get in the same room and play PlayStation together because of the contact tracing. And obviously just the normal social settings that you get into, whether it be around campus on weekends, whatever it is, you're asking your players basically to self-quarantine almost 24 hours a day, and that's a hard thing to do for anybody, but especially when in that age group. And as this thing has evolved, you can see it unfold, the thing that just absolutely amazed me, we opened up our season at Texas A&M, so we have a decent amount of Texas players on our roster. Well, as we talked to different schools around the country early in the season, some of the schools that had outbreaks found that the outbreaks were coming from the parents and the families coming to the games. So we had to tell our players at Texas A&M Friday night in the hotel before the game and Saturday night post game, you know, you can see your family, but you can't have contact. You can't go up and hug your mother. You can't go up and hug your father or whatever, grandmother, whoever it is. All right. You can see them and kind of like, you know, keep your arm's distance away from them. And you're sitting there telling a young man that, you know, maybe hadn't seen his parents since June, you know, hey, you can't go up and give them a hug. And that's, you know, that's the thing that sometimes, like I said, in this whole thing that's going on this season, people don't really understand the sacrifices being made. And here, everybody's got different rules for their crowds. Our first 2 home games here, we had no crowd, like a lot of the NFL stadiums you see, because Nashville is one of the hottest outbreak cities in the country. So we have a different set of rules. So our parents couldn't even come see our players play. You talk about playing in empty stadiums or, you know, small crowds. That's one thing. But I'm sitting there thinking about our players, you know, a mom and a dad or a grandmother, whoever it is, they can't come in that stadium, see their son or, you know, grandson, whoever it may be, compete, you know, and sit there and watch it. We have a Marriott hotel that sits in the end zone, buddy. I don't know if you remember that from years gone by, but there's a full service Marriott that sits right in the end zone of our stadium, basically. We have parents that are renting out rooms that look out over the stadium and watching our team play from hotel rooms just so they can see their son compete. And, you know, when you see all those things going on in the inner workings, you really have an appreciation for what these players are going through at this time. And like I said, I want to talk about that a little bit today because, you know, everybody's, you know, rooting for their favorite team, you know, whoever that may be. I know in that state, you know, it's a very hotbed of, you know, college football, and the 2 in-state schools have a lot of great following. But, you know, make sure you understand what those guys are going through when you watch those guys compete, whether it be on TV or if you're at one of those games around the state or around your region. You know, really take full appreciation of what those players are going through out there just to get on the field on Saturday. You know, our players are getting tested 3 times a week here. You know, they get tested on a Sunday after a game, get tested on Tuesday, get tested on a Thursday. You know, it gets a little bit mundane for those guys. So there's a lot of sacrifices going around. And like I said, it's really teaching us a lot. I think it'll be something these guys will never forget, and we'll make them better people when it's all said and done. And when, you know, it's drawing our team closer together and we're slowly getting back to full strength. I think we got a chart today that said by the time we get to midweek next week, out of 85 scholarship players, we'll probably be up to about 63 to 65. That's still how much we're climbing back with COVID related issues, some opt-out people. So it's going to be a challenge all the way through. But, you know, I thought it was good. I would be remiss not to talk about the players in this whole deal, whether it's our players or South Carolina players or Clemson players. I don't care whose team it is. They're all going through a lot. All right. Just to get out there every Saturday for y'all to enjoy watching them play and follow your, you know, your favorite team. But as I mentioned, we've had 2 weeks off here. Looking forward to getting back on the field and competing. And it's kind of, you said we need to take that break, but then you sit down and you watch some games on Saturday afternoon and you're watching people compete and you get that itch again to get out there. So we're getting ready next week, not this Saturday, the following Saturday, we're playing Ole Miss here at home. Coach Kiffin, who I coached against twice when I was at Louisiana Tech, he was at Florida Atlantic, does a great job. They do an unbelievable job on offense with their tempo. You know, they're kind of like us trying to piece it all together, but it's going to be a heck of a challenge for us. We're looking forward to it, getting our people back together and getting on the field against Ole Miss here in 2 weeks and getting back in the SEC play. And that's one of the things that, you know, also that's been a great challenge is there's no leading games. You know, we're a new offensive staff here trying to install everything, and we don't have a, you know, an out of conference game or two early in the season. We jumped right in. We went right to Texas A&M, who was like number 9 in the country, played LSU, who was 6 in the country, and then came back and played South Carolina. And, we're in the conference the whole time. So it's going to be a battle every week. And we just want to keep on. All we've talked about our players is improve the product every week, and worry about ourselves a little bit. And the results will come as this thing unfolds. But, you know, we're looking forward to moving on here in a week or so, getting on the field against Ole Miss. Actually, we play the state of Mississippi twice, and then we go to Mississippi State. So we're on a little bit of the Mississippi swing coming up here the next month. But it's been a great challenge. It's been fun. Hopefully we can get back to some sense of normalcy here sooner than later. But really appreciate the opportunity, buddy, to come in and say hello to the group here. It's South Carolina, you know, really does have a special place in my heart. I really enjoyed my time in the state. And obviously, like I said, being in the Carolinas for a long time, you know, almost a 10-year span, it's a great region. Love the high school football in the area, and really have a lot of respect for obviously the colleges in that area, playing against them, coaching there, and then obviously the high school players. But appreciate the opportunity to come in and say hello. Just wanted to hit you on a couple of those issues. And if I could just wrap it up one more time and make my point, as you watch these games unfold, man, just really appreciate what those guys are going through on the field just to get out there and give you a good product, because there's a lot of sacrifice going on right now across the country for these guys to take the field. But I appreciate it, buddy. I hope that filled in for you. If there's any questions, love to answer any and respond to anything you guys may have.
Coach Fitch.
Yes, sir.
What is the academic issue in your recruiting? How big an issue is the academics at Vanderbilt?
Obviously it's an issue, but here's what it really comes down to. You can, a young man's got to have to be a good student, but it doesn't have to be a 4-point and off the charts. What you have to find is, when you recruit at a school like this, is somebody that is a good student, obviously, but understands the importance of education. The young man, the family, the whoever the support structure is, they have to understand that, hey, I got to approach my academics just like I approach my football. And I think one of the challenges when you recruit a school like Vanderbilt, you have to find a guy that appreciates academics and what it's going to do for his future. Because when you do get a degree from a place like this, it can put you on the path for success, life after football, like no place else other than, in the country. But you also have to make sure that you find guys that love football the same way that they love academics. Because what happens sometimes, you say, well, I found a great student who football is just, it's okay, but doesn't love it. You got to find and I tell guys all the time, we can walk by a lot of recruits. We just got to find 25 that love football and love school. Because what happens, you play in this league, obviously in the SEC, if you're not bit into football as much as you're bit into academics, it's a wear and tear in this league now. There's no off weeks, as we mentioned. So they kind of, lose their lust for football too. So I think obviously the academic component is important, but really it's more about understanding the value of the education. And once they get here at a place like this, they're going to make sure if they'll take care of the business, they're going to succeed here.
Todd, I found out in speaking about Vanderbilt, I found out when I coached at Howard in Washington, D.C.
Yes, sir.
I found out that when we were out recruiting, your academic guys that were pretty good players, they were interested in Howard, and I'll bet when you find some pretty good players that are pretty good academically, they are interested in Vanderbilt. I found that to be true.
There's no doubt, Coach. That's a great point. And really, across Power 5 Division I football, there's about 5 of us that are really in the same boat. Obviously, Stanford, Notre Dame, Vanderbilt, Northwestern, and Duke. And there's some other ones that are a tier below, but really good schools too. Don't get me wrong. But there's about 5 to 6, 7 schools that are elite schools academically that play at this level. And like when you find, like you said at Howard, a good friend of mine's a head coach there now, Larry Scott, just took the job. When you find those guys, there's a niche, right? There's a market for those guys, and it's a dogfight now. It's a brutal dogfight for those guys because there's only so many of those guys, and it's a highly competitive recruiting. And the one thing that Stanford has done, Northwestern has done, even Duke to an extent, they've invested greatly in academics or in athletics. They put a lot of money into facilities, and they're building and have built. And it's everybody understands the role of the athletics with academics. And we've recently got a new chancellor here, and things are on the move. I think there's going to be some building going on here too, which is critical to keeping up with everybody.
Coach Fitch.
Yes, sir.
Being offensive coordinator, what do you attribute all the high scoring in the SEC this year? What do you attribute that to?
I think it's a couple of things. Obviously tackling is at a premium, because of the short camps. Everybody got interrupted during fall camp, just, across the board. So it was hard to get out and get a lot of tackling. We probably had one true day of tackling, live tackling in a scrimmage. And then, this league is blessed with a lot of great athletes, and if you look at football over the last 10 or 12 years, we're trying to transition to a little bit more skill on the field. They've been more of a pro style, 12, 13 personnel. We're trying to transition ourselves here. But, the last probably 5 to 10 years in football in general, more of the skill, more of the speed is being highlighted on the field. And this league is kind of following that role. I always laugh. People talk about a pro offense. It's a pro offense. I said, the last time I checked, the Super Bowl champions are running a college offense half the time. You know what I mean? So, the game has evolved and they're putting speed in space, getting playmakers out there. And, you watch Alabama now, there's no secret. They got a great offensive line and they got speed all over the field. And, and then there's more and more teams playing like that. And I think that's a combination of the practice time and, philosophically, coaches across the country are moving more to that type style of football and, recruiting to the speed, like the speed and space method. And that's creating a lot of mismatches in the open field.
Todd, how did you like Ruston? I lived in Ruston 2 years when I was down at Grambling.
Grambling, yes, sir.
Yeah.
You know what?
How'd you like Ruston?
It was as Buddy mentioned, Skip and I had worked a bunch in the past, and he wanted me to come back and coordinate. So I came back down there and spent 4 years with him. I really love the people. It's a small town. It's grown a bunch since you've been there, Coach. It's no longer a dry parish and all that. So they got restaurants and movie theaters and everything now. Everybody that used to be there, like, they got a movie theater, that kind of thing. But it's grown. It's getting bigger. But the thing I loved about Ruston was great people. The people that you met in the community all lived and died either for Louisiana Tech or Grambling, as you well know, right? It's one of the two. And then B, the state of Louisiana is a lot like the state of South Carolina. There's a lot of small towns that have really good high school football players that are a little bit underdeveloped. They're going to grow when they get in college, right? And we had a slew of players there that are really good players. A lot of them playing in the NFL today. I think when I left there, we may have had 17 active players in the NFL or something like that when I left there. And so those guys love ball. They love football. So they were fun to coach. And like I said, the thing I always remember about that place, though, was the people in the community, like you probably remember the Davison family when you were there. They're very wealthy. They kind of take everything in that parish, and outstanding people. Did a lot for me, and just can't ever appreciate how much people did there for our family and for our program the 4 years I was there.
Todd, you're right. Mr. Davidson owned a trucking company.
Yes, sir.
And he loved Coach Eddie Robinson and our baseball coach. So he was one of our staunch supporters.
Yes, sir.
Real fine gentleman. And over at Grambling, it's nothing there but the university. I don't know if you got to visit over at the campus. Yeah,
I did. One day I was there, the first year I was there, I said, what? I didn't realize Grambling was that close to Ruston, to be honest with you. I knew it was close, but I didn't realize how close. And I drove over, and you're right. Pretty much everybody that, worked at Grambling, lived in Ruston or, somewhere on the fringe of Ruston and the university there. And we actually played them one day. Unfortunately, it was about 110 degrees and the crowd was really down. It was the NFL Network started covering our conference 2 years ago. And so we were the first NFL Network game was Grambling and us. And it was literally 110 on the turf that day. So the crowd got kind of drowned out a little bit because of the heat. But which was unfortunate because they had sold a bunch of tickets. It was going to be a heck of a crowd and a great environment. It was a good game. They played really well. We beat them, but it was a dogfight now. But it's unfortunate that the both communities couldn't really, see the benefits of the crowd because it was a scorcher that day. I think we kicked off at 3:00 in Ruston on the turf, and it was not cool. Let's put it that way.
Okay. Are there any more questions? Well, Todd, thank you very much. And if you need a little hint, I still got a little freeze option for you. But Todd, let me tell you this: when we went looking for a quarterback, there were about 5 schools you had to beat out. One was East Carolina.
Yeah.
You had to beat out the schools that wanted a quarterback that had good feet and who didn't mind taking a lick. So, it's funny how you recruit, and there are certain schools that want the type of players you want. And if you run an offense, you certainly have to go out and recruit for it.
That's right.
So we had a good time with it. Buddy, you want to close out with Coach Fitch?
Yeah, Todd, I appreciate you. You were fantastic as usual. And, maybe we'll run into each other here somewhere down the road. Please, good luck to you guys. I'm pulling for you.
Appreciate it, buddy. Appreciate you having me on.
Yeah, you guys, and tell Coach Mason I said, hey, everybody. Yeah, those guys.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's a good man. I tell you what. Didn't
absolutely,
know,
guys go back together. Yeah.
yeah, I didn't know Derek before I took this job. I tell you what, a quality man now. One
Yeah.
of the best, one of the quality guys I've worked with.
Good enough. Well,
Yep.
we appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Thanks, buddy. Appreciate
All
it.
right. Mhm.
Thank you, Coach. Thank you, Coach Fitch. And now we will, we'll have the president of the Orangeburg Touchdown Club. Let's bring up Mr. Rob Hibbets, our president.
Thank you, Coach. Coach Fitch, you really appreciate your appearance today. Your remarks were excellent. I know you do a great job wherever you go. And again, we appreciate you coming on the program today very much. Nolan and Amir, congratulations on your award this week. We're looking forward to some more success from you the rest of the year. And as I say every week, we're sorry that we can't have you and your parents in person and your coaches there so we can properly award you the Player of the Week. But best of luck to you and your teams for the rest of the year. Our speaker for next week is Coach Robinson, who is the defensive coordinator for the University of South Carolina. So that ought to be very interesting also. Moving along, does Charles have the pick'em contest to post up, please?
So we've got this week, we've got UAB versus Louisiana Lafayette, Auburn versus Ole Miss, Iowa State versus Oklahoma State, Iowa versus Purdue, Michigan versus Minnesota, and our tiebreaker will be the total points for Clemson versus Syracuse. So just to read that back, UAB versus Lafayette, Auburn v. Ole Miss, Iowa State, Oklahoma State, Iowa versus Purdue, Michigan versus Minnesota, and then the tiebreaker total points, Clemson versus Syracuse. When you get that filled out, send that to ahunter@colepepperwood.com. And just another point of order, Orangeburg County Community of Character, just wanted to mention that nominations are still being accepted for the 2020 Willie Jeffries Character Award. So that link is below on the video. So please check that out if you've got somebody that you'd like to nominate. And with that, I'll kick that back to you, Robert.
Thank you very much, Charles. I appreciate that. Our pick'em contest winner, we had two perfect scores.
Did you?
But Roxanne Cummings did the tiebreaker, so she's our award winner for this week. So
She's not eligible.
Who was the other one, Rob? Who was the other person?
She tried to turn it down, but I made her take it. So that's.
Who was the other one, Rob?
Austin Cook again. He was right in there. He was right in there. But his points weren't enough. I mean, you had to multiply everybody's points by about 3 to get to that number. So,
Okay.
so it was a great week, and like I said earlier, we got another great college weekend of football this week. Look forward to the high school games, and you players of the week. Best of luck to you, and we look forward to seeing you next week with offensive coordinator from Carolina, the defensive coordinator from Carolina.
Yep.
Thanks very much. Y'all have a safe weekend. Take care, and we look forward to seeing you next week. Thank you.
That ends